Hey everyone, welcome. It was a couple of years ago when I first looked at the Diamondback Crimson Hardtail as a great entry-level mountain bike. And then I did another video in which I talked about some wishes, wants, and upgrades that I believe made the bike better. Fast forward to 2026 and we have Crimson 3.0 right here behind me. Diamondback introduced a new frame that addresses quite a few of my wishes from the past, and in this video I'm going to go over the details of the new frame, the construction of the bike, the components used, and why I believe that this Crimson 3.0 should be in the short list of mountain bikes people consider in 2026. And I mentioned the redesigned frame for 2026. It's still aluminum, built for a 1x drivetrain. It has modern geometry, and I would say fresh look with good choices for color and branding. But way more important than that, this frame now uses a through-axle for the rear wheel. So you have boost 148mm spacing, and that makes for a stiffer real end of the bike, a stiffer wheel, and also I would say brings the Crimson into the serious mountain bikes category. Bike comes with a modern cockpit with 760mm handlebar, a 50mm stem, Shimano MT200 2-piston brakes. It comes standard with the dropper post, and you see the remote over here, and Diamondback branded lock-on grips. Cables go through the ports at the headset and then follow the chainstay to go to the rear derailleur and the brake. The beefy chainstay protection will keep this bike quiet, and that was one of my wishes back from 2023. Glad to see a comfortable LoveMTB Volt saddle. Dropper post is a KS Rage with a 150mm drop for this large frame. It does have internal routing, and right next to it you're gonna see a couple of mounts for a bottle cage. And up front you have a modern taper head tube with what's called a Zero Stack or ZS headset from FSA. This new frame is built around the 130mm fork, which I think is great for a cross-country or a trail bike. But before we look at the fork, let's briefly look at the geometry. We have a large frame here, and right above you can see the suggested rider height. On the screen now, you also see that for a large frame, reach is at 465mm, chainstays are 430 for all sizes, head tube is at 66 degrees, and seat tube angle is at 75 degrees. That is considered to be modern geometry that is not too aggressive. I would personally ride a bike with that geometry pretty much anywhere around Toronto with no problem. Also pay attention to the fact that they don't specify an extra small or a small frame for this bike. And we're talking about the fork. Diamondback specified a RockShox Recon fork with 130mm, and you can see here on the side that this is a 29er fork. It uses what's called motion control damper. On the left side leg, you're gonna see confirmation that this fork uses a boost spacing. It is an air fork that you're supposed to adjust to your weight and riding style. And if you go to Trailhead or the Trailhead app, you can get all the information and adjustment suggestions right from RockShox. So overall, welcome changes to the frame design, but what you might not think about is the fact that the boost spacing of the fork and the frame makes for better wheels. Wheels that are built with Shimano hubs that use center lock rotors. You have steel spokes, brass nipples, tubeless ready WTB rims with 30mm ID. And I also applaud Diamondback for using Maxxis tires, but this time they moved on to the more cross-country or trail-oriented Recon 29er 2.4 with that EXO reinforced sidewall. Same Recon 2.4 is used both front and rear, and the same rotor is used front and rear. These are Shimano rotors 180mm RT10, and you see the 2-piston calipers of that MT200 brake. These are not the most advanced or the most powerful Shimano brakes in existence, but for the intended use of the bike, which is cross-country light trail, I think they will provide plenty of power. They are very reliable, and you're gonna find service parts like pads pretty much everywhere. And that brings me to what it is, maybe the jewel of the components that Diamondback decided to use on this bike. That's the one by Drivetrain from Shimano, starting with that SLX shifter, which, if you don't know, is probably one of the easiest one to actuate in their whole mechanical 12-speed lineup. The 12-speed cranks and the 30-tooth chainring, these use a threaded bottom bracket, and if you look at the details, you're gonna see that they are 165mm cranks, one of the modern trends in mountain bike being those shorter cranks. Pedals are provided as well. These are flat pedal made out of composite. You see those nice pins that with the right shoe, they're gonna provide you great grip. They decided to go with a KMC chain, and in the back you're gonna have the standard SLX 10 to 51 tooth cassette, and obviously the SLX 12-speed derailleur that has a clutch, remember, to engage that. And that is how Diamondback decided to build the Crimson 3.0. What do you guys think about the component choices? What do you think about the changes to the frame? Are you excited about having a Shimano 12-speed Hyperglide Plus on a bike in this price range? Let me know in the comments. That also means that this bike is ready to ride pretty much the way it is. We have only made a couple of minor adjustments, like removing the reflectors, clipless pedals. We grabbed the Diamondback branded jersey and a Diamondback MIPS helmet, and we're ready to go. And what better place to test a bike like this than the local trails that we know and love? And we started with the climb and that steep C-tube, and the easy gears with that 30-tooth chainring allow you to climb with relative ease, and they also allow you to climb more difficult areas of the trails. This one here is called Ugly Up. If you're just cruising along on flatter terrain, you're definitely going to enjoy the extra cushioning that those 2.4 Recon tires offer. And when you finally point this bike down, I don't think you're going to be disappointed either. And you can ride along with my son Jay here on the trail that's called Digger Downhill. So what are our first impressions about the Crimson 3.0? Well, first of all, I'm impressed that Diamondback listened to my suggestions from 2023 and they implemented pretty much all of them with one exception, and that is the derailleur hanger. They still have a custom one and not the SRAM UDH. Price? You can see the standard pricing right here on their website, but remember this is a big box store, so they're gonna have discounts also. This is a Canadian Tire company, so if you use the triangle card, you're gonna get a lot of points, plus you have the option to finance this over 24 months. But first and foremost, the bike I think is capable. The bike is great for people that get more serious about mountain biking and they want a bike that is ready to ride right out of the box. So what do you guys think? What would you change to a bike like this? If I was to do a follow-up video on this, I don't even know what I would put on it aside from the UDH. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, hope to see you folks on the trails. Why not riding a good old Diamondback bike? Cheers, guys. Cheers.